Kirk Carr.
Senator Moore, Representative Felipe, Senator Sampson, Representative Scott, members of the Housing Committee, thank you for this opportunity to speak. My name is Kirk Carr of Ridgefield, Connecticut. I'm hereby submitting testimony in opposition to SB 6 and Act Concerning Housing. SB 6 is actually over 6 proposals wrapped in one bill. It is duplicative of SB 207 and Act Concerning Housing Authority Jurisdiction, which was the subject of a public hearing on February 27th, 2024, and other proposals, each of which is fatally flawed. One, sections 1, 2, 3, and 4, which are new, establish a $50 million housing growth fund. It proposes to distribute these funds to municipalities based on a very complicated formula that requires all 169 towns to jump through hoops to provide information to help develop each town's housing growth score. But only towns with poverty rates above the state's poverty rate, of which there are 27, or accounting for 2% or more of the previous year's housing starts, of which there are 13, are eligible for a net of 38 towns. Then to be eligible, 10% of those housing permits must be deeply affordable housing, for which qualified households must earn 30% or less of the state median income, and rents are 30% or less of that income. In other words, a very few and unknown number of towns would even qualify, yet all towns are burdened with feeding the cumbersome data collection to this process. Daniel O'Keefe, Commissioner designated at the Department of Economic and Community Development, testimony in opposition merits emphasis. Quote, the Housing Growth Fund in Section 2 is not funded in the governor's budget, and DECD does not have available appropriations to allocate $50 million a year to this new initiative. In addition, we do not have the staff capacity to stand up this new program, and doing so would require additional funding in the budget for staff, end quote. The $50 million in grants appears to come with no strings attached to be deposited in qualifying towns' general funds for unspecified purposes. 2, Section 5, new, is duplicative of SB 270 and provides tax incentives for owners of commercial properties to convert them to residential. This is fiscally unsound objective. Farmland Trust has demonstrated that residential property taxes generally do not cover the cost of municipal services. Those services can cost between 5 and 30% more than the residential tax revenue, while commercial property taxes are 2 to 3 times the cost of municipal services delivered. These conversions are a very bad trade-off for municipalities. 3, Section 6 increases conveyance taxes on sellers' property. How this improves housing affordability can't be explained because it will surely have the opposite effect. 4, Section 7 and 8 are basically a sales tax provision that allocates some sales tax proceeds.
Can you please summarize?
I don't think I can, but if anyone has questions, I'd be happy to provide additional information.
I don't have any questions for you, but I want to tell you how much I appreciate you reviewing the bill thoroughly. Is there anything you'd like to say that you can summarize? Anything?
Yeah, I was almost finished, but 4th, Section 7 and 8 are basically sales tax and really belongs in the Finance and Revenue Bonding Committee, not in the Housing Committee. Section 12 is duplicative of 207, which had its public hearing last week, enables housing authorities to extend their areas of operation to municipalities, making them essentially non-resident landlords in the expanded area of operation. Local housing authorities are organized to serve the needs of low-income and indigent residents of the municipality, and are generally appointed by the local governing body, such as the Board of Selectmen, which in turn is accountable to the voters of the town. Housing authority boards are generally local citizens, volunteers with ties to the local town and subject to the approbation and esteem of their neighbors. A housing authority that interlopes.
I just wanted to get somewhat of a summary.
Okay.
But I really do appreciate the summary that you've given us. And I want to let you know that anything that has to do with appropriations of funds has to be referred to the Appropriations Committee. We don't make that decision here. And anything on the taxes, you're right, has to go to Revenue, Finance, and Bonding for review. and anything that has to do with planning and development would go there also. So you're right on. And thank you so much, sir.
Thank you for allowing me to speak, and I will be submitting the entire testimony in writing.
Thank you.